Welcome back to Top 10 Amazing Facts. Today, we're diving into the blood-soaked hills of Appalachia to uncover 10 facts about the real story behind the Hatfields and McCoys, two families whose legendary feud has become a permanent part of American folklore. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next historical deep dive. Number 10. Where it happened. The Hatfield-McCoy feud took place primarily along the Tug Fork River, which forms part of the natural border between eastern Kentucky and southern West Virginia. Specifically, the Hatfields lived in Logan County, West Virginia, while the McCoys were based in Pike County, Kentucky. The Tug Fork region lies in the rugged Appalachian Mountains, a land of steep hills, deep hollows, and dense forests. In the 1800s, this area was extremely isolated, with few roads and minimal outside law enforcement, a perfect setting for personal justice and clan loyalty to dominate over official authority. Before the coal boom, residents survived through subsistence farming, timber, and small-scale livestock. Poverty was widespread, and land ownership disputes were common. After the Civil War, timber and coal industries expanded rapidly, bringing more tension over land and resources, particularly for families like the Hatfields, who profited from timber operations. The region was also deeply divided politically after the Civil War, with Union and Confederate sympathizers living side by side. This environment contributed to distrust and old resentments, exactly the kind of atmosphere where a family feud could turn deadly. With limited policing, feuds and vigilantism were part of life in the mountains. Families like the Hatfields and McCoys took justice into their own hands, and local courts were often powerless or biased, especially when juries included friends or relatives of those involved. So, in short, the Hatfield-McCoy feud happened in a place where isolation, poverty, war wounds, and weak legal systems created the perfect storm for a blood feud that became an American legend. Number 9. It started over a pig. While the feud had deeper roots, one of the first explosive legal events was over a hog. In 1878, Randolph McCoy accused Floyd Hatfield of stealing one of his pigs, a big deal at the time when pigs were worth serious money and food was scarce. The case went to a local trial, with a relative of the Hatfields, Bill Staton, testifying in favor of Floyd. The court sided with the Hatfields, but the McCoys didn't take it lightly. The loss wasn't just about property, it was about pride, loyalty, and honor. Soon after, Bill Staton was killed in what many saw as revenge. What seemed like a petty dispute ended up being a symbolic spark that lit the flames of a full-blown feud. Number 8. They fought on opposite sides in the Civil War. The Civil War didn't just split the country. It divided neighbors, communities, and families. The Hatfields, especially Devil Anse, fought for the Confederacy, while the McCoys had Union sympathies. One McCoy in particular, Asa Harmon McCoy, joined the Union Army and returned home injured in 1865. Not long after his return, Asa was murdered in a remote mountain cave where he was hiding from local threats. Many believe members of the Logan Wildcats, a Confederate vigilante group led by Devil Anse, were responsible. This wasn't just a political killing, it became deeply personal. The seeds of violence had been planted, and war allegiances only made it worse. Number 7. Devil Anse wasn't his real name. The infamous leader of the Hatfields was born William Anderson Hatfield. So where did Devil Anse come from? Some say he got the nickname because of his fierce temper, while others say it was to distinguish him from his good-natured cousin, Preacher Anse Hatfield. Either way, Devil Anse became a name that struck fear in the Tug River Valley. He was a natural leader, a tough backwoods businessman, and was even known for operating illegal timber ventures. But here's the twist. Later in life, Devil Anse converted to Christianity, was baptized by a preacher, and even built a church. The man who once led a violent feud tried to find peace in his final years. A surprising transformation that few people know about. Number 6. The New Year's Massacre. In the dead of night on New Year's Day, 1888, the Hatfields launched a brutal attack on the McCoy homestead in Pike County, Kentucky. The attackers set the McCoy cabin on fire while the family slept. In the chaos, 2 of Randolph McCoy's children were killed, and his wife was beaten nearly to death. Randolph himself managed to escape. This horrifying act shocked the nation and marked the turning point in public perception. What had once seemed like a rural family feud now looked like domestic terrorism. For the first time, state governments began to take the feud seriously, dispatching officials to bring the killers to justice. Following the New Year's massacre, Kentucky authorities captured several Hatfields, but the arrests took place illegally on West Virginia soil. That sparked a state versus state legal battle over jurisdiction. West Virginia protested, claiming their citizens had been kidnapped. This led to the 1888 U.S. Supreme Court case Mann versus Justice, where the High Court ruled that even if the arrests were improper, the trials could proceed. This legal showdown was one of the few times in U.S. history that a feud between families nearly escalated into a constitutional crisis between states. Number 5. There was a forbidden romance. In 1880, John Hatfield, the charismatic son of Devil Anse, met and fell in love with Rosanna McCoy, daughter of Randolph McCoy. The two began a secret relationship, a love story that defied family hatred. Rosanna became pregnant, but John eventually abandoned her and married her cousin instead. Rosanna, devastated and rejected by both families, died young and alone. Their tragic love story became a symbol of innocence destroyed by hatred, a real-life Appalachian Romeo and Juliet that added emotional depth to the otherwise violent saga. Number 4. The feud lasted nearly 30 years. This wasn't a short burst of violence. The Hatfield-McCoy feud dragged on for nearly 3 decades, roughly from 1865 to 1891. It wasn't a continuous war, but a series of escalating events: revenge killings, court battles, ambushes, kidnappings, and shootouts, often in the remote, lawless hills between West Virginia and Kentucky. Over time, dozens were injured or killed, and the feud drew in cousins, in-laws, hired guns, and even local sheriffs. For years, the legal system couldn't control the violence. The feud became a symbol of Appalachian lawlessness and embarrassed state leaders who were unable to contain it. Number 3. The feud went Hollywood. The Hatfield-McCoy saga has inspired countless films, TV shows, books, and songs. Perhaps most notably, the 2012 History Channel miniseries Hatfields and McCoys, starring Kevin Costner and Bill Paxton, brought the story to a new generation. The series received 16 Emmy nominations and won 5, including Outstanding Lead Actor for Costner. The feud has been parodied in cartoons, referenced in country songs, and used in political speeches. Today, it stands as one of the most recognizable symbols of American conflict and cultural identity. Number 2. They finally made peace. In 2003. Even though the gunfights ended in the 1890s, the symbolic feud lingered on for generations. But in 2003, over a century later, descendants from both families met in Pikeville, Kentucky, to sign a peace treaty. More than 60 Hatfields and McCoys attended the ceremony, hosted by the local historical society and even covered by national media. They shook hands, shared meals, and declared an end to the grudge. The event reminded everyone that while history can divide, it can also be healed through remembrance, education, and unity. Number 1. They now compete in tug-of-war. Yes, these once deadly rivals now meet every year to compete in a tug-of-war across the Tug Fork River, which historically divided their territories. The friendly competition is part of the annual Hatfield and McCoy Heritage Days Festival, where descendants come together to celebrate their shared history rather than dwell on the pain. There are parades, reenactments, story-sharing events, and yes, lots of jokes. What was once a river of blood now hosts a symbolic rope battle, proving that even the deepest wounds can become stories worth smiling about. Bonus fact: there's a Hatfield and McCoy dinner show. Want to experience the feud with a side of fried chicken? In Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, you'll find the Hatfield and McCoy Dinner Feud, a hilarious, family-friendly comedy show filled with musical numbers, stunts, and good old-fashioned food fights. The show doesn't just entertain, it keeps the story alive, teaching new generations about the absurdity of holding grudges and the importance of family ties. even if those ties come with a tug of war. And that's it. 10 incredible facts, plus a bonus, about the Hatfields and McCoys that go beyond the legends. Which one shocked you the most? Was it the romance, the pig trial, or the fact they now laugh together? Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more amazing stories from history. Until next time, stay curious and never underestimate the power of peace.